Was it all young guys down in Mexico, pretty much, at that time?
No.
No?
What do you mean, young guys?
Like you and wasn't Art Barr down there at the same
Me,
time?
our Barr Eddie Guerrero, and Konnan were like the Gringo Locos or whatever you want to call them, crazy Americans.
Yeah.
But we wrestled like Octagon, El Hijo de Santo, Liz Mark, Perro Aguayo, Dynamite Brothers. Like we wrestled like all the top guys.
Did you learn a lot down there?
No,
Really?
no. I just, we won all the time.
Yeah.
I didn't learn. Those guys really don't even do lucha libre style because they just brawl because it's top matches. So in the top matches, it's the young. I learned more about lucha libre in Tijuana when I was the mercenary because they would have us doing all these lucha spots with the Villanos and all these guys, the Brazos and those guys, and actually when I wrestled Konnan, he would want me to do a lot of lucha libre spots, but with those top guys, it was very little lucha libre and mostly all brawling.
It's a lot harder, the lucha style? Was it a lot harder to learn?
No, it was just different.
Yeah. Did you like it?
And it was didn't think anything of it. It was just different.
Yeah.
Didn't necessarily like it or dislike it. It just was a different style.
Yeah.
I realized that it was good that I was learning another style.
Yeah.
And it wasn't that hard. So it was okay.
When the talk of like the pay-per-view came around that they were going to do a pay-per-view and such, what was the atmosphere? Was everybody all excited about it, or did people not understand down there what the magnitude would be of it? Or
I think that they understood the magnitude, especially because the first time we drew 18,000 people at the LA Sports Arena, we were quite positive that we'd be able to do a good pay-per-view.
Right.
And I think that I started to, I know, how like you hear so many people saying, "Oh, we're gonna have a pay-per-view," and you're like, "Oh yeah, sure." Right.
Yeah.
Back then, I didn't think that. Like when they said they were having a pay-per-view, I believed it.
Yeah.
And my first thought was, "Oh, this would be a perfect way for the WWF to look at me. Like this will be my tryout in WWF." So I couldn't wait for the pay-per-view. Just for the only reason why I couldn't wait for that pay-per-view was so I could be on it and knowing that Bruce Pritchard and Vince McMahon and all those guys would watch it and they would say, "Oh, there's Louie Spicolli. That's who we wanted to bring in to look at. Instead, we could look at him on pay-per-view."
Right.
And I was praying that they would hire me.
Yeah.
From just getting to see me on that pay-per-view.
Yeah.
And plus, I guess it was a big deal to everybody that AAA was having a pay-per-view and it got all these good reviews and stuff. And out of the 5 matches, I was in one, I seconded one, and I ran in on another. So I was like in 3 of the 5 matches. So I was like all over the fucking show. So I knew that they couldn't miss me.
Yeah. Now you talk about WWF so much. Did you ever make any contact with WCW at all in that time period?
No, I didn't know anybody there.
Yeah.
I didn't know any, I didn't know, I think Kevin Sullivan was already the booker, and I had met him before, but, I always wanted to go to WWF.
Yeah.
And, that's who I had worked for all those years. And, they knew I wanted to work for them, and that's who I wanted to work for. So.
You already had that one foot in the door from your past experience.
Yeah. And I had like a one-track mind, I didn't even think of, because like WCW were the main backers to that AAA pay-per-view.
Right.
And I never thought of going like, "Hey, I was on that pay-per-view. I'm American. Can I come work for you?" No, I was like, I wanted to go to WWF.
Right.
So I never thought of WCW. Maybe a little bit, but not really.
Yeah. What went wrong? Because it seemed like that AAA, like, they just kept going up and up and up, and they hit the pay-per-view, and then they just, like, crashed.
Well, Art Barr died.
Right.
And the peso crumbled. The peso went from like 35 pesos to the dollar to like 79 pesos to a dollar.
Wow.
So like, if they gave me 3,500 pesos a week, that was like $1,000 a week. If they turned it around to 3,500 pesos a week when it went up to 79 pesos to dollar, it was like $400.
Yeah.
They couldn't afford to pay all those extra pesos to make up for it. And I mean, 9 days after that pay-per-view, J.J. Dillon called me.
Right.
So I was like, well, Mexico served its purpose. I'm done.
Yeah.
But I don't really know why it crumbled the way it did. I think, it had to do with the peso and, I think there was differences in opinions between Konnan and Pena, and that I really didn't find out about all that stuff and get involved because I was like right into WWF after that.
Watch thousands of exclusive shoot interviews right now on TitleMatchNetwork.com.